Okay.
The purpose of you guys being friends is because of those relatabilities, right?
Yes.
So you still relate to that person. You might not relate necessarily in things you do outside of school or outside of whatever the case may be.
Like, you don't understand friendship, and it's blinded loyalty. Like,
Yes.
he's my friend. That's my friend. We ride together. Da 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 da. But when you're older, you get to assess these things in a more mature and a more practical level of like, okay, like
Things that come with just friendship in general. Sometimes you can be bitter when it comes to friends. Sometimes you can be very generous when it comes to friends. It just depends on the experience you went through and the stages of life that you So we back, as always. We got a guest. I mean, you guys must know him by now.
at this point.
We got TJ himself.
Let's get it.
I'm back. 2025, far from normal.
Let's
Let's
get
get it.
it.
Let's
Got
get it.
Fuzzy in the building.
Yes,
How you
sir.
feeling?
You already know it's 2025. We back, baby. We back in action. I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling good. Back to now we're on to a new year. Obviously, new goals. We're pretty much at that halfway point because now we're at 2025. So, we have 5 more years till 2030. Hit that decade. And but big things to happen. I mean, big things to come, I would say. I think like right now in the stage and age we're in, I feel like there's a lot of bigger moves that are going to happen. That are going to be like life altering moves. So, man, just looking forward to it, trying to lock in this year. Hit all my goals, man. Hit all my goals, or at least initiate them, get started on that process because like we mentioned on the podcast, time flies. And especially as you get older, the time starts to go a lot more quicker. The clock goes a lot quicker. So just like I said, grateful to be healthy and my mind's right. So just trying to make sure I'm on the right track, making sure I'm getting my shit together.
Yeah. I would say the same thing as well. This is actually our second episode back. It feels good to, come here and be consistent, try and get an episode in every week. I would say that this could be potentially a pivotal year for the podcast because we've been doing it for a little while now, and I think there's going to be a lot of big things coming our way. So, I'm just going to keep going with the process, keep building the brand and seeing where things go. But for the meantime, we're going to keep dropping this great content and letting our viewers and listeners enjoy exactly what we're dropping.
100%.
Yeah, that's how I feel about this year. This year, I'm just super focused. I'm hitting the ball. I'm in the ground running.
There we
I'm
go.
not trying to even think about it being a new year. I'm just trying to continue from what I was doing last year and
100%.
just make sure I hit every goal that I set out to hit.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, like we always talk about New Year's, I think it's just a refreshment point for most people. I think just because like how our society is kind of designed, I'd say they design it a certain way. So when there's a new year, for example, people feel like that's a fresh start.
Yes.
So I think people like to use the new year as their fresh start moment. So that's why we're saying like we don't really believe in like, new year, now you start. Like
I
I feel like
in the,
you're
like,
continuing.
when people are like, this is my year. Like, I don't believe in none of that. I
No.
believe that you are a product of the times you put in.
Yes,
If
100%.
you put in like some times in the past and
Bring the mic a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
you put in some time in the past.
Yeah.
And, like, you put some structure in last year, you have to build on that this year,
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. And I noticed that like momentum's a hell of a thing too, right? So it's better for you to have momentum coming into the new year anyways. It's better than to just start fresh, right? So I think that it's better to always carry momentum with you. Like keep things continuous.
I didn't go out for New Year's because I'm just, this year I want to be focused. I don't want to be like starting my New Year's off in the clubs.
In the club partying and all? Yeah. I hear
make
that.
Sure that I keep the momentum that I was having at the end of last year into this year.
But when it comes to like stuff like that, like say like leisure time or like free time, when you have the ability to do what you want to do, like you said, go to a club, go to a bar, go to a game, entertain yourself, all these type of aspects. At what point do you say that, this is what I'm trying to ask. If you have entertainment on the side and then you have your focus on the other side,
Right.
do you find that do you have to balance them? Do you find that you have to balance these things, or do you find that you have to
Honestly, it's just-
eliminate?
I don't think there's nothing wrong with like working hard and playing hard. I just
Okay.
feel like the whole over marketing of it's New Year's, so you have to go out because it's New Year's. I'm
Okay.
not buying into that anymore. You
Okay,
know what
okay.
I mean? Like I'm not buying to like traveling on holidays. Like I'd rather travel when there is no holidays because there's less people.
That's true.
You know, like certain things I feel like people are boxed into this idea like, oh, it's New Year's, you have to be out. No, you don't. You can
That's
just be
true.
at home chilling, thinking about how you're gonna do what you're gonna do tonight for the rest of the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't really change that much. How about for yourself?
No, I was gonna say the exact same thing as what TJ was saying in terms of people need to be a lot more strategic in terms of when they decide to take vacation, not at the time where it's being advertised, right? When the holidays come into play, everybody's getting ready to go out and get ready to travel somewhere, right? But that's exactly the time where they get you because
Exactly.
everything is more pricey than it would have been if you came on the off season to
100%.
wherever you were trying to get to. So I think not buying into the hype of because it's the holidays you should leave the country, and just kind of really being more of an individual in the sense that you're thinking further than the typical thinker, because I think most people like to follow the group and it's more group think rather than individual thinking. So a lot of the time people fall victim to a lot of the stuff that are going on, whether that's part in the party scene during New Year's Eve where they jack up the prices, they
Facts.
on everything.
100%.
The ticket prices, Ubers are more expensive that night. You know, you could barely get one. You know, it's jam packed on the streets because they advertise those specific holidays.
It's a frustrating situation. Like
100%.
you're just trying to you would probably have more fun. Like this is what I realized. Like I've done both. I've traveled
Okay.
on holidays, and I realized that I have more fun. I have a better time when I do off-season travel
There we go.
because it's like it's less hassle, less people, less, and you get to have more fun. Your money goes further. So why am I dying to travel when everybody else is traveling?
I
There we
think I
go.
think the big thing for the traveling purposes and why people want to travel certain seasons is because one, there's time off usually, like in those type of holiday
true,
seasons.
true.
Like people that work standard jobs, they usually have time off, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a
Yeah,
week,
they
or
get some
you have
extra
some time,
days, yeah.
some extra days off.
Yeah.
So typically in that time, obviously, it's promoted with us to spend time with family. Travel, like these are all things promoted to us, right?
Yes.
Like even traveling, usually travel vacay time, because when are you gonna find a random time in the year to book a vacay? So if you're talking about the typical 9 to 5er, it's
Yeah.
you know you only
Well,
have
you
so
could
much.
book. You could book a vacay when it's not travel.
No,
times.
you can
Yeah.
book a vacay when it's not those, like you said, off season and stuff like that. But I guess people just have it in their head. Well, I want to go when it's most popping,
Yeah.
wherever I'm headed to. So if I go during the holidays, yeah, I know a lot of people are gonna be there. That's what I'm looking for, right? Like I'm going to Mexico, so everybody's
Everybody's
there.
there, yeah.
I'm going to Jamaica because everyone's there. Like
Yeah,
this
yeah,
year,
yeah.
this in Jamaica, the Vibes
Nigeria too.
Cartel.
Nigeria,
Yeah.
everybody's there.
Nigeria,
Dirty
all the
December,
celebrities
yeah,
too. So there's a lot of
everybody's there, yeah.
there's money that comes with that, right? There's a
Yeah.
lot of promo, celebrities. There's a lot of shit going on with that. Whereas, again, you can plan for any single time because every place is different, every season is different.
I
But
think it's because I'm an anxious. Maybe I'm just an anxious person. I don't like it. I don't like things too crowded. I don't
Too
like
crowded,
too.
same.
I don't like. I don't. If I'm gonna spend my money, like I want to spend my money, like on my terms. I don't want it to be. I'm going somewhere and it's super crowded and it's like a line and I don't want any of that drama. You know what I mean?
okay, so I understand
Yeah.
that for more like if that's your like personality,
personality type, yeah.
Because I understand people go to, I mean, they go to Carnival in Brazil in
Yeah.
February when
Yeah.
it's the most popular,
Yeah.
and there's so much more tourists and stuff like that. People like that
yeah, they
experience
love that
because it's like a
experience,
once in a
yeah.
lifetime experience. I'm never gonna be here that often.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah,
be
yeah.
there when it's busy. I want to be
Yeah.
there when people are traveling from different parts of the world and we're all
and you
meeting
can meet
together.
everybody.
I guess
at
it
the same-
depends on where you are at, like where you're at in that stage of life.
Life, yeah,
And
100%.
you know, sometimes when you're a bit younger, you want to be where the hype is.
Yeah, you want to do
you
that.
want to
Yeah,
you want to
yeah,
do
yeah.
it all.
I think when
you
I was
want-
younger, I definitely
Oh,
wanted to be where the
100%.
hype
There's so
was,
many
yeah.
times where it's like I want to go when it's popping. I want to go when there's a big crowd
Mm-hmm.
and everything's going on. There's people all over the place. I want to be part of that energy.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
energy that's
Mm-hmm.
being released in the air and stuff
Mm-hmm.
of that sort. But on another note, I wanted to talk about when you actually become an adult, because we're talking about adulthood and how stages of life and how that changes you.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested to really get down and debunking the issue of becoming an adult and how difficult it is when you're trying to make friends as an adult. TJ, in your own opinion, now that you've lived to this point of life,
Okay.
how do you feel about when it comes to making friends compared to when you were a bit younger? How do you feel? It like, is it a hassle? Is it difficult?
It is difficult because, like, I feel like, first of all, you have to lead with, like, intentions of the type of people you want to meet.
Yes.
Exactly. You have to kind of, and you also have to kind of vet people better. I feel like you make better friendship as an adult than you do when you're kids.
Yes.
Because when your kids' friendship is based on history and, like,
It's by
I know this
default.
person for the rest. I don't even know if he might not be a good person, but I know them since known themselves too. We might not have nothing in common, but we known each other since we were two.
Which is funny because you can have a friend that's
Yeah,
like
that's true.
a murderer or whatever,
Yeah, but
craziest.
Yeah.
that's my
But
boy.
it's like, that's my boy. Like, I've been known him.
We
for
came
how
up in
long?
we came up in the diapers,
Yeah,
we
I
came up
mean,
in the same daycare,
Yeah.
It's crazy how we give
Commonalities.
leniency to people we've known for a long time.
by
yeah.
default because
but let him continue what you're
Continue,
saying.
Yeah,
though.
so I think, like, as an adult, like, you have intentions. You meet like-minded people. The things that brings you guys together is based on common interests and things that like, you can have good conversation with someone that you meet as an adult because, like, you guys most likely have the same interests. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas the only thing is just sometimes, like, as an adult, your relationship has never really been tested. Like, you guys never really went through anything real together. You know what I mean? Sometimes
When
So,
you're dealing with new friends.
when you're dealing with new friends,
Okay.
like, you haven't really been through. Everybody's like you're in a situation, and a friendship is beautiful when everything is going good. Like, let's say you're down a hard time, and then you have a new friend, and it's hard for you to really
Yeah.
put yourself in a vulnerable situation with that
With the
person
new
because
friend.
you guys know that's a new friend. So
Yeah.
that's the part that is a little bit hard when you're meeting. You know what I mean? Having new
So
friends.
so you're saying it's hard to, like, be real about, like, real things, like, in certain
Yes.
scenarios. So
Yes.
obviously, like, say for example, like, if financially your situation changed, and say you were used to, you could spend time or go out or go to a ball game to, like, hang out and stuff, and maybe
Yeah.
your situation different. You're off of work. Yes, you probably would feel more comfortable
Yeah.
explaining that to somebody that you've known for a while because
Exactly.
you've seen them and their ups and downs.
Exactly.
Compared to a new friend where it's like you've only seen them when they're up. They've only seen you when you're up.
Yeah.
Now
And
when
then
you're
you
down,
go through something real, it's like,
yeah,
oh
it's
shit,
like,
I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, I didn't sign up for your drama.
Like, what?
Yeah, like I thought you were good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was trying to associate with people that are doing
They're
good.
doing
so,
good. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But in a way, I understand where they're coming from because
Yeah.
now that you're an adult, you're thinking a little more clearer. So
yeah.
typically, adults have a lot of things going on. You know what I mean? In their own life, their own issues. They got so much stuff that they're juggling. So to add something else to the pot is not always conducive to what they got going on.
True.
Right?
Yes. Okay, so my question is then, so as you become an adult, the friends you make as an adult, are they less genuine then as the ones you make as a child?
I think as a child, you're so naive about like the world as a whole. So you never formulated your thoughts yet. So those thought patterns haven't developed yet. But as an adult, when you formulated your thoughts and you've experienced multiple friend groups and multiple friends and certain things that you've done with friends and certain betrayals and certain things that come with just friendship in general. sometimes you can be bitter when it comes to friends. Sometimes you can be very generous when it comes to friends. It just depends on the experience you went through and the stages of life that you went
Maybe-
through.
But the genuineness, do you think that comes with newer friends or with older friends?
Genuineness, I think that's a good question. TJ, what do you think about in terms of
Genuineness, I would say when you're younger, you're more naive and you don't really understand. Like, you don't understand friendship, and it's blinded loyalty. Like,
Yes.
he's my friend. That's my friend. We ride together. Da 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 da. But when you're older, you get to assess these things in a more mature and a more practical level of like, okay, like, you know, maybe I don't know. It's like, I wouldn't say it's less genuine. I would say it's more intentional. You know what I mean?
pragmatic, more
yeah.
pragmatic
But
for sure.
here's the thing: you have to ask yourself now, what's the purpose of a friendship?
What do you mean by what's the purpose of
So
friendship?
you having a friend that you've known for a while, just by default, just by being in the same geographical area and going to the same school and stuff like that. So you have a friend based on familiarity, right?
Yeah.
Like just
Right.
based on you knowing people, you being in the same area, living in the same area, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
The purpose of you guys being friends is because of those relatabilities, right?
Yes.
So you still relate to that person. You might not relate necessarily in things you do outside of school or outside of whatever the case may be. Whereas when you're an adult, you seek out friends. So you go to specific areas of interest usually. And usually it's either people from work or people from communities you're part of or people that have the same interests you have, whether that's through even like chat groups and like, you know, all that type of stuff that they have online and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is, in a friendship, what are you truly looking for? Are you looking for somebody to help benefit you? Are you looking for someone to be similar to you? Are you looking to someone to have the test of time? Because for me, when I think of a friendship, if I'm thinking honestly, the most valuable friendships would be the ones that lasted time, not the ones that I'm currently trying to make. The ones I'm currently trying to make, I'm trying to make that friendship in order to benefit me in some type of way.
Yes,
As you become an adult, you become more analytical with your vetting of people. You start
I
vetting
see what
people
you're saying.
differently.
I
You
see
see what I'm
exactly-
trying to
yeah, I
say?
see exactly what
And
you're
it's the same
saying.
thing for a
Yeah.
woman, right? Like say you date a woman when you're younger. Well, of course you don't have all the ideas of what she needs to be and what she doesn't need to be. You're not even thinking of the flaws and stuff like that.
But maybe
Until
that's
you-
the blind loyalty that makes it work. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm trying to say about even friendships.
Friendship,
Like we're
yeah,
judging,
yeah.
like, oh yeah, but just by default I know him. But yeah, but that relationship works by default because of that
Yes.
default. Rather than you now looking for a specific thing that that person needs to offer, and this is why I said about the genuinity of it, because it's like, okay, well now you're not in the position that you met me as. So say for example, we're both lawyers. Or we're both like prominent businessmen, or we're doing our entrepreneurship, say for example,
Yeah.
and then my business is falling apart. But when I met you, my business was thriving.
Doing good, yeah.
Well, now if my business is falling apart and I'm trying to lean on you as a friend, you might be like, well,
don't
your
know you that
value was
well.
in your
Yeah.
business, like when you were doing good. You see
So
what I'm
then-
trying to
then-
say?
Then if you say it that way, that's less genuine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
In a
this is what I'm
sense.
saying. As an adult, it's
Yeah.
tougher to have a genuine relationship because a lot of it's conditional.
Yeah, but I feel like you said, touch on what you said, it's all based on time as well. You know what I mean?
Time
It's
is
like-
the biggest matter.
Is the biggest matter
100%.
because eventually you could start off a friendship on some like, oh, let me see if this person could be good for my business.
Mm-hmm.
And then over time that builds into something more than this person being good for my
That's
business.
exactly
Now
it.
we might go through real things together. Maybe we go through losses together, or maybe we go through, like a
Yeah.
moment of time that kind of just exceeds the basis of our friendship.
Friendship, exactly.
Now it's now bigger than, oh, okay, like I met this guy hoping that we could do business, but now he's like family. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
trials and tribulations
yeah.
formulate those type
But
of
I think-
relationships for sure.
initially though,
Uh-huh.
as an adult, your friendship with people are probably not as genuine. You know what I mean? It could be but sometimes it could happen like the way we met was just all
Yeah,
on
some things are
it's just
organic.
organic.
But
you know
I think
what
when
mean?
you seek out specific people
Yes.
because of interest or because of certain things that may help you or help them or you can help each other, I think that's when you get rid of the.
But you know what though? I personally don't like. I like organic friendship. I don't really seek people out in terms of like, oh, let me seek this person out because I feel like he could be beneficial to me, da 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 da. Because I feel like that if that's the case, like you will be able to see through it because I'm not a fake person, you know? Like if I organically have a friendship and we click and we have good conversation, then as a friend, if I have something to give or offer or like an idea or a business or whatever, we could grow on that. But like if I'm meeting you specifically because I want something from you, I will question that friendship. Like some people try to get close to you because they want to be.
I think
you know what I mean?
I think that you wanting something and you so I think there's two ways in like friendships. Like some people will want to befriend you in order to maybe get ahead, maybe to or use it as some sort of leverage, some sort of crutch, some sort of opportunity.
And some people are really good at that.
Yeah, some people are good at like strategically placing themselves in certain areas to get that. But at the same time, even with friendships, I think you still have to be around like-minded people to build the friendship. You have to be around people that are doing the same kind of thing you're doing, like-minded. But I think with that being said, just having people that are like-minded, you still are going to gravitate to who you gravitate to genuinely. Like that's usually because that's a feeling-based thing, right? Like you know certain people that you gravitate towards just don't give you that right feeling. Like even though they're interested in the same things you got going on,
but you know, some people. I think some people don't operate that way. Some people operate basically seeking out new friendship for leverages. You know what I mean?
I do believe that is the case. But I was gonna say that a lot of adults, what I've noticed when we go into certain situation, it's not the fact that they're necessarily looking for a friendship. I think that they're going to do a certain type of activity. Like if you go into a group situation where it's going to be a workout, like you're in some fitness event and you're doing a workout, you're not necessarily going to the fitness event to look for a friend. You're not there to go seek out friendship.
Yes.
You're there to go do a workout. You know what I mean? And then and within that workout, you may bump into somebody while you're working out that you guys start kicking it, like you just start talking, right? And then you're chopping it up, maybe whatever, you're taking a sip of water or something, and then they say something, then you guys are chopping it up, then you continue chopping it up when you're done your workout and whatnot. But it's not like you went for the intentions of necessarily making friends just because in your mind I think that.
But that's an organic friendship.
Yeah, that would be organic.
Like
yeah,
you
like organically.
With that person organically. The type of stuff I'm talking about is like, let's say, I want to get into podcasts.
Yeah.
And I seek you out because I know
you're doing podcasts or music.
You know what I mean? And I come seek you.
But I think you can find those people out. I think you would be able to detect those type of people.
No, some people are good at it. Some people are very, very good at it. Like I've met people that are good at it. If it's like they want to, if it's the same thing like sales, you know? Like if I wanted to get somebody to buy something from me or whatever the case may be, I'm going to not, like the best way to do that is to have human commonality, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
rather than say I have a product to sell to you. It's like, oh, you're a Man U fan? I'm a Man U fan. Now we have something in common.
You're right, but they better be really good at their research on whatever like the commonality is, because now if they get tested on those commonalities, they can be exposed.
That's why I'm saying some people are really good at it.
Yeah,
They would do the research. They would know. They would watch all the podcasts that you've done. They would be able to have regular conversations about every.
True.
You know what I mean?
That's true. Someone can do that if they want to like leverage certain. If they want to leverage certain relationship, if they're like that shrewd and they're that type of person, they could do that. You're right.
Yeah.
But that's what. But my whole thing is okay. So say you're trying to meet someone, because we all have this issue, at least as adults, right? Especially as guys. I think for women it's a little bit different.
No, they still have the same issue.
They have it worse. I think they have it worse. They
Well,
take pictures together and like don't know each other.
Yeah,
you know what I
well,
mean?
that's what I was gonna say. For women,
they're shrewd operators. Buddy.
No, I was gonna say for men, the reason why, women they just communicate more often than men, right? So they'll have this friend today, another friend tomorrow.
It's a lot of fake.
So they have a lot of fakeness, like with a bunch of their friends. Because that's the thing about women. Like they'll have a best friend today, tomorrow another new friend. The other day they're loner. You know, they have so much stages of friends, especially their friends for specific reasons. Where guys, we're more like, okay, we don't have too much big groups, right? Like we just have standard group that like people we chill with often, and we have people that we kick it in certain specific scenarios, and then we have people that we have the same interests as, and we'll do certain stuff like that. But like I think just meeting friends or being open to having friends, I think most men are just distrustful. But why do you think we would be distrustful to try and create like a new friendship or meet new people? Why do you think there's a distrust
I
like
think
men have?
The distrust is like maybe it's you overthinking the other person's intentions. And when you become friends with people, if you're a good person and you're like there's certain boundaries that male friendship have with each other. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you had a girlfriend now, and because we're friends, I can't go talk to your girlfriends because we're friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's
unwritten
like,
codes.
exactly. So, like, there's a thin line between outline competing with the other people and having them be people that you can't compete with. So, do you guys understand what I'm trying to say? Or
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, it's like, if I'm friends with you, I personally believe there's principles and guidelines of that friendship without being said. You know what I mean? If you had a girlfriend or whatever the case may be, like there's no way I would go talk to your actual girlfriend, not someone you're talking to.
But here's the thing:
You know
if
what
you
I mean?
don't state these rules, how do you expect someone to abide by rules you have in your head and your moral code of your experience?
not everyone has
Because the
same,
point of this, why I'm asking this,
Yeah.
is just like if you date a chick, like how do you expect her to be like, oh, I'm not gonna do this, I'm not gonna do that, unless you have explained, listen, this is
but
my
like we
rule
don't
book.
we don't
like,
sit around and be like, yo, listen, this is the rules and of this friendship. Like this is what I consider. I don't think men we don't really do that. It's just things that's unsaid.
So,
within-
but then the problem would be
Yeah.
communication, that we don't
Yeah, it'd probably
communicate
be- yeah,
effectively.
yeah,
Because
definitely.
we don't know what boundaries are with who. Like
Yeah.
at the end
And
of the
some-
day,
and-
we don't know if we're disrespecting somebody,
But-
if we cross this line or if we cross that line.
And that's the thing. Like I feel like if you had a friendship with someone over time,
Yeah.
you guys will have that. Like you would know how someone think. You would know how what would get into under someone's skin. What would you know what I mean? Like because your friendship it's organic. You understand what I'm saying?
That's interesting that you say that, but I feel like, well, my thinking towards that is, as an adult, you don't have as much time. You don't spend as much time with your friends as an adult as you spent
do
with them
when you're kids.
when you were a teen or when you were in elementary school
Yeah.
and
Or
stuff
even
of
college.
or college. Yeah. Because college or university. Because the truth of the matter is, you have more responsibilities, right? And you got more stuff that are weighing on your head, whether that's you trying to figure out your family situation, if you have any kids or stuff of that sort, where you're trying to live, geographically where you're trying to live, what your job situation is looking like. So there's a lot of things that trumps the friendship,
100%.
which tends to deter you from too much communication with your friend. Right, you kind of catch them along the way, where it's like, okay, I'll text them here and there when I got something going on. I'll text
that
them.
could happen to any friendship, even your oldest.
Yeah,
friendship
you're
is-
right. You're right.
100%.
Yeah,
that could definitely happen.
Yeah, that's definitely a common
I'm
thing.
speaking more about like new friends because I feel like to some level of I don't know necessarily how it goes in every group. Like you have a small group of friends and it's like okay, like these are my people and we're gonna go out and conquer. We're gonna go out and do businesses together. We're gonna go out. You're gonna be at my wedding. You're gonna da 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 da. So it's like everybody else in my like I don't know if it's in my mind or whatever the case may be. It's like it's like it's not competition per se, but it's just like it's either us or them type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
in a sense of it.
In your
As
in
a
your
man,
group, in your circle,
it's either-
with your community, it's
Yeah.
like kind of like us versus
Like if
them.
you take a random guy's girlfriend, that's a random guy's girlfriend. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But if you take
exactly.
your friend's girlfriend, then you're a scumbag. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
that's
it's like,
true.
what is the difference? Like like how do you determine if that person is a random person or your friend? You understand what I'm saying? So.
Well, I guess it depends on like how much activities you do with that individual. How much time do you spend with them? Like,
Yeah. So
I
if
mean,
you, like for instance, like you said, like let's say you sign up for a gym activity, right?
Yeah.
And there's a guy there that like you won't really like you guys water breaks, you guys say what's up to each other,
Yeah.
da, 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 da. And like maybe you don't really know each other and you
Yeah.
go out and you meet somebody and that used to be his ex, you know what I mean? Would that deter you from going out with his ex.
But is that your friend or acquaintance? And that too, we have to figure out the definition of
friend
friendship.
friendship and acquaintance. Yeah, exactly.
So,
So
there's
at
acquaintances
that point,
and then
that's
there's
an
friendships.
but
He's an acquaintance. 'Cause
he's
I
an
see
acquaintance
him-
right now. But
But
like
he's not a friend yet.
he's not a friend yet. But that instant that like let's say you meet the girl and you really like her or whatever the case
Yeah.
may be, then now it's like he's gonna stay an acquaintance. You know, like you
Yeah,
might
he
not
can.
even
Yeah.
be close enough to be friends with this guy.
But I
now
guess
Because
you
of the
have to make
circumstance.
yeah.
Because
But
of
I think you have to
circumstances.
make that decision whether you want to build a friendship with the individual or do you want to stay acquaintances, because that initial meetup of like seeing them drinking water or whatnot. It's like, yeah, we're cool when we see
Yeah.
each other. Yeah, well, I'll dap
Dap
you up
you.
and whatever. But now, if I'm pursuing a woman, it's like I don't know you that well enough to be like I'm not gonna pursue this woman.
Yeah, and I think that's why male friendship is everybody's kind of like not because of women obviously,
Yeah, yeah.
but just in terms of that's why there's a guard there. You know what I mean? Because it's like when you consider someone your friend, you have to you as a me as a person, I like to hold myself to a principle standard.
Oh,
You
no,
know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah,
And-
there's no point of it.
And some people don't do that.
Yeah.
So then that's where you're apprehensive about people that you let in as a friend. You know what I mean? Because they
think
don't
that's
have
it.
the same principle as
That
Absolutely.
yeah, see,
You
know what I
yeah,
mean?
see that is
That's
a
a big
big
one.
thing. Yeah, because principles don't align. But I guess again, but when you're friends, that's where that communication is so important because sometimes you have to lay it out because not everybody's principles are in alignment.
Exactly.
So they gotta kind of know what direction or what is okay to do and what is not okay to do. But it's also
different.
unreasonable at the same
I'll
time.
I'll say this is the big thing. Yeah, it's very unreasonable, like what you're saying. But I think from my experience is that you have different categories of friends.
okay.
So certain people land in certain areas. Certain people I'm not going to bring to certain areas. Certain people I know they're not going to thrive in certain areas.
Yeah.
Certain people I'm not going to trust them in certain areas.
Right.
Being a friend doesn't mean 100% trust. Doesn't mean 100% loyalty. Doesn't mean 100% they're going to do every decision you want them to do or make the decision that you think is going to be best for yourself. They're going to make their own decision. They're
Right.
human. It's just like you dealing with a woman, right?
Yes.
They're not going to make 100% of the right choices. Like if you're not watching their every move, like they're
Right.
gonna make mistakes. They're gonna do shit that piss you off or things that you're like, what the fuck? I would never do that, right? So there's always gonna be even friends that remain in this category. For example, I can have some friends that, you know, from back in the day, say I have some friends that were like players, for example. They like
Right.
to get a lot of women and certain things like that, right?
Yeah.
But they're still my friends.
Yes.
And that's a lifestyle choice. That's something that they choose to do, maybe that I don't participate in, right? So if we're in a scenario now, I have a wife or I have, you know, a woman with me that I'm dealing with, is that the friend I'm going to bring her around or expose her to? Or probably not,
I mean,
right?
yeah, I understand.
So
Everyone should do like you should have
So
you
you-
know different ways you present your friends. You know what I mean? Like some
put friends in categories so you
Categories.
don't get disappointment in other areas. If your friend is a friend for this purpose, keep
Yes.
him in that area. I think that we're
But
confusing mixing
even the purposes,
people into every
right?
single
even
area.
even if you have friends in different purposes, your principle as what you think a friend should be should still align. You know what I mean? Just because this person you can't really maybe I don't play ball and you play ball and we can't play ball together, but that doesn't mean that my principle of friendship should be different. You understand what I'm trying to say in a way?
I think everyone's moral code is different though. So I
Yes.
think unfortunately you don't know where people come from
that's-
and their backgrounds.
That's why you have to kind of when things to separate like acquaintances from friendship.
I guess so.
the
Yeah, I
morals
guess
have
that's
to
the
align.
difference of the morals.
Yeah, the
Okay.
moral has to align.
Okay, I
If the
can
morals
agree
don't
with that.
align, then we can't really be friends. You know what I mean? If you think that it depends. Like some people don't see nothing. Like some people don't see nothing wrong with talking to their friend's ex-girlfriend.
Ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
Some people don't think that. Some
Yeah.
people.
That's what I'm saying. Everyone's moral compass
some
is
people just
different.
think that's regular. You
So
know?
I think you just gotta kind of understand your moral compass and where it lands, because honestly, with that, it kind of gives you a better understanding of what it is that you're willing to do to save a friendship, or what you're not willing to do to save a friendship.
Yeah, and as time changes and as situations change, I think that, you know, your friendship dynamics change. Because like I said, if you are, you know, first you're a single guy, you have all your single friends. Now you're a married guy with kids. Well, those single friends are doing their single friend stuff. So how are you incorporating them into your
The
life?
dynamic of how you
point?
hang out with your friends is always going to change.
And that's what I mean, like the dynamic of time you spend with them, what situations you're exposing them to, and that's what I mean. You keep certain people at the arm's length if you understand. Friendships don't have to be always so.
It doesn't have
closely
to be so
knit.
closely knit.
It can be arm's length too.
It
and
could
we
be
come
from a
together
distance,
when we need to come together.
Like
that type of thing.
Like if I'm like even some of my friendship, like, you know, some of my closest guy friends, they're married, they have kids, they have family. So certain things is like, yo, if they go on like double wife and
family trips type thing.
I'm not gonna go, you know what I mean? Like, what am I gonna? I'm gonna be there.
And they know, like, okay, that's my buddy that's single. He's not doing that.
Exactly.
Like,
that's not gonna change the fact that we're still friends. I just understand that, okay, life is different for you now. It's different for me now. So
absolutely.
I can't come to the family trip by myself.
No.
That's crazy.
100%.
So how do you hold on to those type of friendships, especially when they're changing through the stages? You know, if you want to continue to like foster that relationship and think like, no, I think this guy's a genuine person. I think this guy is, you know, we're in alignment with one another. But I mean, even geographically, they could be in a different country now. They could be living somewhere else. So how do you manage to keep those type of relationships when they're living elsewhere? They're living, the time zones are different and stuff of that sort.
That's basically all my friendship. I think like it's the organic factor. You know what I mean? It's like we don't have to hang out to have stuff in common. You know, we could still watch the same sports. We could still have the same type of humor. Like we don't necessarily have to be together all the time to feel like we're, you know what I mean? To feel like we're friends. You know what I mean? I feel like if you only feel friends with someone because you guys hang out, I don't think that's a real friendship. You know what I mean? That it might, somewhere along the line, it's not an organic friendship. Like, damn, we don't go out no more, so now we're not friends. Like, what else do we have in common besides going out?
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing. And like we said, things change. But I want to jump off this topic. I wanted to get into actually a topic that was very popular that like was running through the news cycles. It's pretty much a lawsuit that came out at Fox Sports 1. And pretty much the lawsuit had to do with pretty much Skip Bayless, which is a sports analyst on Fox Sport, Joy Taylor, a hairdresser that worked with them, and also like one of the, I think, directors of content for Fox Sports. So pretty much it was a case, and you guys probably heard it, where there's a lot of, you know, sleeping your way to the top type of rhetoric is going on. So I want to talk about shitting where you eat, and also just thoughts of like when you are with women in the workplace and how that affects you in terms of how you behave when women are around, especially gorgeous women I'm talking about, because there's always this rhetoric when it comes to women is that, you know, they use their looks to get to the top, you know, they sleep their way to the top. There's always that.
It's always a in the background.
In the background, it's like, who are you sleeping with? Who are you sleeping with to get this position, right? And, you know, the conversation can go, even when it comes to guys, like a lot of people would say, like, who's your uncle? Like, which uncle do you have working as an executive that got you that position? So I want to talk about, first of all, shitting where you eat. Do you believe that that statement is a true statement? Like, do not shit where you eat. Do you believe that that's something that men should abide by when they're in any workplace?
I mean, yeah, but I'm not gonna act like I've never done it before. You know what I mean? And I realize why not to do it after you do it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you shouldn't put yourself in a position where, like, if you're going to pursue something like that, you have to think of the bigger picture. You know what I mean? The bigger picture is, if you're not planning to be with that person, and you have to continue to work with them, when new people enter your lives, it's going to affect the new relationship. It's going to affect the workplace environment. It's going to affect, there's a lot of things, a lot of factors that is going to affect that you should think about first before you even take that leap.
I think you're right about that. I think I've never been in a situation like that, thank God. But I mean, I've had opportunities to get into situations like that where, you know, situationships were put on the table, but I decided that, you know, I didn't want to
Pursue it.
I didn't want to pursue it, confuse work with pleasure and stuff of that sort. I didn't want a place of what earns me money to potentially be lost because I wanted pleasure. You know what I mean? So I started thinking in terms of experiences that I heard from other guys that have been in situations where they had a fling with one of the workers, and how, you know, the awkwardness of continuously working with them, but then it went sour. You know, so then you start to see the sourness. You start to see them avoiding each other, not coming out at the same time, going different ways, trying to avoid, trying to ignore. All
it brings in unnecessary drama.
Oh yeah,
you could have just avoided that by not chasing that,
not at all,
not
right?
pursuing that situation.
And then also you get the situation of people just talking. Now you become the talk of the town, gossip all over. They start asking questions about what had transpired. Somebody's gonna talk, and then now you're on the chopping block. You might lose your your job
but you know the
whatnot.
crazy thing is, like, I could see how it happens organically. You know, like how, like, yo, you could be working closely with somebody all the time.
Yeah.
You find this person attractive. You guys are going on trips together. You guys are going to dinners together. You guys are.
Oh, it's very likely.
But this is where you gotta be disciplined.
This is where you have to be, and that's the thing with men most of the time. Like, it takes. I feel like not a lot of men are sexually disciplined.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like when there's an attractive person in front of you, I've seen the best of them just lose guard, lose. You know what I mean?
But here's the question I have to ask, because we're saying that, like, the reason I ask this question is because in this day and age, they're saying, okay, don't shit where you eat because of the consequences that may happen, right? But prior generations, like just 2 generations ago, that's how majority of people were meeting their spouse, was at the workplace.
But they also
that
didn't
was
get
the most
sexual harassment with their thing.
but hold on. That was the most likely place to find the mate. So it was actually better than dating, because you were working with people that were in your same field. You were seeing them often. So even when I was in high school, I'd see teachers married to one another. That'd be a common thing, like being in the same
at
school.
The workplace, or
a lot of people met at the workplace. A lot of people meet at the workplace. A lot of people that have, older generation, they'll tell you, like, oh yeah, I worked here, they worked there. Like a lot of times those relations were acceptable. But in this day and age, why it's different is because, like you're saying, the Me Too movement, feminism, all this extreme stuff going on. I feel like that's now has changed it, where you can be jeopardizing your job, because if things go sour, anyone can make a claim and say, well, this person's making me feel uncomfortable. This is that. And these are ways that people get into trouble or lose positioning because of personal vendettas.
You know what? I mean, like, you have to be intentional about what you're doing if you're pursuing someone from work. It could work out.
That's what I'm trying to say. You just can't be playing the player game.
You can't be like, oh,
in and out.
You can't be, your intentions for that situation has to be worth the risk of
the. So that's what I would say in those type of scenarios. I wouldn't say that it's completely off limits to date someone within a workspace of yours. Well, if it's a permanent workspace, maybe not. But like if it's a workspace where you might be with them for a couple months, then they'll move on, do something else, and you'll move on, do something else. That's like a different kind of scenario. But I do think it depends on your positioning. This is the biggest thing. Like, what position do you hold within whatever said company it is, right? Because I think when you have power, that's when you have to be very careful.
Be exploited.
Exactly. Because I think when you're lower level, like, let's be realistic. Most likely it's not going to cause you so much grief. Risk is not that big of a risk. But I still would say it's not smart to dabble in women that are at your workplace. And same thing for women to dabble with the men that are in the workplace.
It's not smart to dabble. If you're pursuing a serious relationship, then I guess there's nothing wrong with it. But you have to be intentional about what you're doing. And I think you're right in the sense of, like, if you have power, if you're a boss and there's a secretary, and then you're having, like, you know, like you're making an advancement. You have to
Yes.
be very careful with that.
You
because
can do
could
that
be-
if you're in any good
Yeah.
position, because then there's leverage in there. And once you do that, you're just exposing yourself for someone to use that as leverage to get position. Because in that lawsuit, there was Joy Taylor that was in that lawsuit that was allegedly sleeping with one of the top directors there
Yeah.
of content and stuff like that, and she was apparently planning to leverage that. And say, like, you know, if this guy gets out of line, I can always drop the
I can
sexual
never lose my
harassment
job. Yeah,
suit.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can never lose my job. He was all in my DMs. He's all
Yeah.
on me. He's married. His reputation is worth certain things. So he's in a situation where even a woman that is not as prominent as him is holding him in a chokehold, a stranglehold. And he's
But
like, but he put it on
put
himself.
himself in that position. But also, like, we can't say like she didn't know what she was doing as well. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
she probably had some
understand-
calculations for sure.
She probably understood the calculations and understood the power dynamic of even entertaining the
Absolutely.
conversation. But he's the
Absolutely.
fool for even putting himself in that predicament.
As
though.
the men usually are.
yeah.
I was gonna say for that specific situation,
Yeah.
for Joy Taylor, the thing is they keep their receipts. So when they do stuff with certain people, they make sure they have a paper trail. So
Absolutely.
in case
Go
it's like
south.
this, if things go south, they always have a contingency plan to save themselves, right?
Well, women are more diligent when it comes to
Yes.
like evidence and
Yes.
keeping things on
Keeping that track
file.
record and stuff of
Men,
that sort.
we
just-
Where's the evidence?
yeah,
Where's
no
the
evidence,
receipts?
no
Where's the-
receipts.
Actually,
Where's
it's
the
here,
track
buddy.
record?
Yeah, exactly.
Women will
Everything's
pull
on
it
the
out
phone,
on you.
yeah.
Yeah, right. So I
We
think,
don't keep track of. We're not that diligent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
we
but,
don't-
well, that's why I'm saying I don't know how smart it is to dabble in situations when it comes to in the workforce, because again, you know, it's not guaranteed things will work out, and then that whole awkwardness of seeing that individual and then them even possibly spreading your name out to the rest of the staff and saying like how this person did me like this and
Yeah.
they're like this and whatnot. There's a guy, actually, speaking of this whole conversation, there's a guy that I know of, not gonna say any name, but there's a guy that I know of that, so on Facebook there's a blacklist group where it puts men that have been dating around Toronto.
I heard about this.
Yes,
Yeah, I
A
heard
lot of
about it too.
a lot of my
Yes,
female
yeah.
friends tell me there's a thing.
So one of my homegirls
Yeah.
showed me the site. Well, she
Yeah.
showed me the group. And then she was
Yeah.
just showing me his...
Are we dating the same guy? or
Yeah.
something?
Are we dating the same guy? That is what the group is
Are we
called.
dating the
Are we
same
dating the same
guy?
guy? So she showed me what they were writing about the specific dude, and I'm just looking at that like, who else did you see on this? Like, I was asking,
Yeah,
like,
I
who else
asked the
did
same
you
question.
see on this, right? And she's like, no one I know
No,
of,
yeah.
but like, it's just the fact that they keep updating his thing specifically.
Oh, they kept updating.
Yeah, they're
it.
still
What?
updating
Oh
it. So
my
I'm just
God.
looking at that stuff, and I'm just like,
It turned into a
God damn it!
serial.
I'm like, does he even know that he's on it? That's what the worst part is.
Yeah,
Does he even know
Yeah.
he's on it?
He might know by now. Hopefully,
I don't know. I don't even want to bring it up because it's like, who told you about this? You know what I mean? Like,
More- one question leads to more.
And so I'm just like, you know, I was just reading some of the comments and stuff, and then they're just saying how this guy's a sociopath and he like lures women to
Oh
do
my
this and
God.
stuff. I'm like, they made this guy out to be the devil reincarnated. I'm like,
This is
Jesus Christ, what's going on over here? And when I see him, he's like the
He's
nicest
cool,
guy, right?
yeah.
He's cool
Nice
and stuff.
guy, you know?
So, you know, I'm like, why are they trying to ruin this guy like
I don't
this?
know. When
right?
there's smoke, there's fire.
Oh
though,
yeah,
for
seriously,
sure, 'cause
seriously. And
he-
this is
he
multiple
made it
women
there.
that are
Yeah.
doing these things. But what I always realize when it comes to women, there's always this coalition where women are sharing information about different guys and what they're doing and stuff of that sort. But then when it comes to men and the girls that they're dating in the dating market, no one has no information on them. There's no guys that are like being like, okay, watch out for this girl. She's kind of crazy. She's doing this. She's doing
Yeah,
that.
there's no
watch out
sharing
for
of
this.
information.
Yeah,
There's
there's
no.
never.
There's no insurance. There's no
Yeah.
like, oh, stay away from this girl. She's doing this. She's doing that. She's playing you.
And
She
even
got
if
this
there
going
is,
on.
there's
Even
always
if
like
there
it's
is,
like
guys
it's a
are
rumor.
Guys don't, yeah, it's a
It's
rumor. And then the guys try not, and then they ignore the information.
No,
They
real
ignore the
talk. Like, I
information.
mean, we were talking about this situation, like even when you talk about like body count and
Yeah.
and like say your friend is dating a chick and say you already know she slept with certain than guys and stuff like that, and you're trying to warn him. Like we've had scenarios like this where people don't heed to those warnings. They're like, oh yeah, whatever. Like, you know, I'm doing my thing, you did your thing. Like they kind of don't care.
They always come back and be like, I should have listened.
I should have listened.
When it's already too late. When it's already too late. So guys,
and that's what I mean. Men just don't heed to warning anyways. Women,
they like to play.
I
with
won't
danger.
even say like all women heed to warning.
Women
like I mean, you can. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can tell them, oh, buddy, he's this, he's that, and they're like, oh, okay, it is what it is. Like. You know, even with that blacklist, and you know, in some sense, that could raise that guy's stock. You know,
as they want to fill it out themselves.
They want to see the danger.
As much as we're like, oh, they're killing his reputation.
It might be helping his reputation.
No, but that's what I said. The psychology actually,
it's very opposite how the psychology works.
People always like, not even women. People always like you don't know him like I do.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I can say
for sure. No, but that's what I was saying to my homegirls.
Men do it too.
I was saying this to my homegirl, like
I'm different.
The psychology of women is quite interesting because they'll see a bad boy and they'll see him doing all these crazy things, and then they'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe he did this. I can't believe he did that. But is he really like that? And then they want to go and find out.
It's almost like
it's
like that turning them on. Like it's like a trigger.
So who's really psychotic? Is it the guy or the woman?
The danger factor, the unknown factor.
For men too, you know what I mean? Like in the sense of like men,
it does.
Where we're like, oh, you know what? Don't talk to that girl. That girl's da 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 da. She's this way, and I don't know her like I do.
Yeah. Everyone is like this, you know. As long as they're getting what they want out of the situation, they're like, you know what?
They ignore the red flag.
I'll ignore the red flag in this scenario. But it's just funny, like you said, stuff like the blacklist and just people having, you know, negative things to say. But this is the problem with social media. When you put yourself out there, whether it's online dating, social media posts and everything like that, you never know where you're going to land. So now in this day and age, like that guy might not even know his name's on somewhere. And we might not know if our name's in the publication either.
Exactly.
Right? We're walking through life. We feel good.
And
all of a sudden, you don't get a text back. You're on the number one most wanted list in GTA. And they're coming for your head. They got your poster. You're walking around. Oh, yeah, I'm a good guy. I'm a nice guy. They got you as the demon reincarnated.
No, he's not. Beware.
Beware. Demon reincarnated. Now you're wondering why no one responds to you when you message them.
We had a spark.
No, but it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop women from hitting you up because it's like because it's multiple women that are hitting up that are saying they're saying different comments about the same guy. But it's like, if you knew that this guy was so dangerous or he's
so you tried it out.
Why did you try it out? Why did multiple women try it out? So they're gonna try it themselves just to find out what is it that everybody likes about this specific guy that they keep going back to him. But then again, he does have certain genetic traits that allows him to even get that type of publicity anyway. So that's what they're interested in. But
it just doesn't work out for them.
So it just doesn't work out for them, exactly.
Like, that's the thing. Like, you should have stopped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If the thing really helped, y'all should have read one comment and be like, okay, this guy shouldn't be
exactly.
But if he keeps getting update, so he just keeps getting new girls to try it out.
You know what the craziest thing is? This guy's only been in this country for a year.
That's crazy.
And he already has all
thriving.
these different... Yeah, he's thriving.
He's already on the most wanted list, but
he's on the most highest right now.
They already got him.
He has a bounty on his name, right?
For sure.
I put the man on that list.
Yeah, I mean, the man does have like the man's 6'6". He has like certain genetic traits that, and then he has an accent too. Oh, so he has like certain genetic traits, and he's like athletic built, like certain traits that's gonna.
That Facebook page is not gonna stop.
That's a free promo. That's a free promo. Wait, what? He's what? Okay.
He probably knows he's all. You probably tell him like, yo, you are. You like, yeah, I know.
Oh yeah. Got it. But yeah, so in terms of, we're gonna be wrapping this up.
Yeah.
In terms of making adult friends, what's your final words to that, and how to cultivate it and keep it thriving moving forward? What do you think people need to do?
I don't know. Like, for me, if I was going to say, like, making friends as adults, I think I'll be honest. For me personally, I think there's only so much of a friendship I can make out of new friends as an adult. There's only so much I can do with a friendship. Now, people might last the test of time. Like whether I meet them like today, they might last till when I'm in 60, right? Like they may last. But if I'm already 30, so like a lot of people already have lasted majority of my life, like in the sense of time. So with that being said, how much more of those type of friendships am I gonna have moving forward? Me personally, I don't think it's gonna be too many. I think they're gonna be more situational friendships. Like, maybe I have a family and then this guy has a family and we come together and we do things together, or I'm part of this league, he's part of that league, or I work out, he works out. Like those type of rudimentary, basic similarities. I think that's where most of my friendships are gonna be, just with basic similarities in certain aspects. But just realistically, coming from where I come from or how my background is and everything like that, I don't expect people from different backgrounds to relate to me like that. So
Right.
I'll relate to you in specific avenues. I think for my friendship, for adult friendship moving forward, I'll relate to you in specific aspects, but I also will know like I have my own personality that's completely different than yours.
Yes.
But I understand that in some scenarios I'm gonna be like one way, and then in other scenarios I'm gonna be a totally different way. So I'll never put that expectation on someone to say like how I present myself here is how I am in every single scenario. I'll say, hey, we're in this scenario, we're like this, but in other scenarios,
Yeah,
I'll
it's different,
advise people like, yo, I can be serious in this type of environment. Like I might be friendly here, but it's because we're friends in this scenario. But if we're in a different scenario, I
I'm a
may be
different animal,
different.
yeah.
So let's not have that expectation that like I'm perfect in every single scenario. No. I am who I am. We can relate to certain situations, and in other situations, we're just not gonna see eye to eye. So I just think tailoring your expectations when it comes to making new friends. Understand that there's gonna be some stuff you guys are similar at, certain stuff that you guys can like, compare yourselves to and do together, and then there's gonna be stuff that our world's different. And I understand that and I accept that with my new friends, people I'm trying to meet. If they're trying to meet me, I accept that entirely. So I don't put expectations on newer friends.
How about yourself, TJ?
Well, to me, I agree with everything you said, and I think the way I look at friendship is like the core. There's core things about friendships that I think that just can't be replaced. Is the amount of time you spend with somebody.
Yeah.
Time will reveal everything,
Everything.
and then the morals and principles that the person has. Those are the two factors that are most important to me about friendship. Granted, like I'm already in my 30s, so I'm not gonna spend, like I have friends that I've spent like maybe 15, 20 years, and it's like, okay, like the time we have spent, the things we have been through, the alignment of morals and principles, can't be replaced
For sure.
with a new friendship. Maybe now I could meet somebody at 30 and we could be friends to like 55 and it could be exactly the same thing. But I think the time you spend with a friendship matters, and then the morals and principles that you guys have
together
with the friendship matters as well.
That's quite interesting. I was just like taking in what both of you guys were saying, and I was just saying to myself, I think friendships moving forward can be developed, but again, it's going to be situational. I think they're going to be groups of friends that are going to be able to fit in different pockets in my life. Whereas if I'm in the athletic world, there's going to be friends that are going to be also in the athletic world and trying to stay fit and be an athlete for life. And those friends are going to be able to we'll be able to mesh and also vibe on that level and pursue that goal. And then but then if I take it into the entrepreneurial world, they may not be entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? They're just more of the fitness type of friends and, health focus and hardworking and so strong work ethic and have a lot of grit when it comes to working out. But when it comes to entrepreneurial endeavors and creating something of their own volition or just being independent, they may not have those type of aspirations. So I can't put that on that group of friends. So in the entrepreneurial world will be a different pocket of friends, and then we could discuss ideas. We can have like a mastermind group and try and bounce bounce our ideas off each other and learn from one another, and then move forward and possibly collaborate on certain ideas that we're doing and certain ventures. That's another possibility. And then you'll have friends that would be travel friends, where it's like you meet them along the way because they're not with you geographically speaking because they don't live in your city, but you can still stay connected worldwide. And it's like, okay, I'm going out to this part of the world. Do you want to travel there? Because maybe the guys in your city don't want to travel. Maybe they're content with their life sitting in Toronto. You know what I mean? So it's like that's not something that they want to pursue because it's like I got work, I got a family, I have my own certain type of routine that I want to upkeep. So okay, you guys stay there, then these are my travel buddies. We're gonna do our thing over here and there. But I just don't think you can replicate the friendships that you've had growing up because those were like set in stone, and those were by default proximity.
And they were stepping stones.
They were stepping stones of your life, a stage, to what you
and
are.
the time,
That's what I mean. There's time
yeah.
and the stepping stone because you've seen them when they kind of never had nothing. There's nothing to base the friendship off of, like benefit. Like you know, when you're older, you can see what someone's up to.
But you see, like I think. The thing is, you should always be open to making new friends.
Yes,
absolutely. Always be open and see what people have to offer into
always
friendship.
Be open. It doesn't mean like it can necessarily replace the friendship that you had before.
It's just a different type of friendship.
It's just a different type of. It's just a different type of friendship, and who knows where it could lead to? Because at one point. You might have met your best friend today, and you guys were just roommates in university. You know what I mean? And then at the time, you was like, "Yo, you have a bunch of friends." Like, man, I'm not gonna meet none of these new people. And now this is one of your closest friends now.
Exactly.
So you should always be open to meeting people.
Always be open to meeting new people, but you will understand that, like in life, again, with friendships and everything that comes with it, girlfriends. There's always going to be shifts. There's always going to be changes. So you just have to be willing to deal with the changes. Some people that you were with for a long time is going to fizzle out. Some people you're with for a short time going to fizzle out, or it's going to be strong, right?
And the fizzling out is just basically based on principles and where you guys...
Principles, where you stand in life, where your mind is at.
Where your mind is at.
So I just say that to say that with friendships, again... People do come and go. Good friendships will last the test of time, but sometimes it's not all about what they can bring to the table. Sometimes it's just about time. It's just about comfortability, and that's how like a lot of relationships work, even with the woman. Sometimes it's not necessarily about what they bring into the table. Sometimes it's about the familiarity and then also understanding the potential.
And you can tell a lot about people based on the foundations of past friendships that they have. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a person that, you don't have any friends, you don't know anybody for 15 years, everybody is in and out, everyone's the enemy, then I would question you a bit. Them. Like, you know what I mean? You don't have any structure.
Exactly. So sometimes you gotta duck and weave, duck and weave. Make sure you know who you're dealing with.
Exactly.
Yeah, know who you're dealing with. That's a big one. Exactly. Know who you're dealing with.
And I think that's all we got on the podcast today. This is Far From Normal, and we are out.
Peace.
Deuces. Let's get it.